We have a great day in store today. We are super passionate, super excited to share, just some amazing principles with you that can really empower you and your team, when it comes to, coaching, when it comes to selling. There are just so many parts of your life that today is going to cover and impact and just give you some freedom and possibility of what you can create next.
Yeah, so let's jump in. We're going to be talking about empowering everyone around you. It's not gaslighting, it's lighting a match. So, gaslighting is a term that I feel like is thrown around this day and age. And so, when you think about what gaslighting is, it's a form of psychological manipulation in which a person makes someone question their reality. So, just knowing that definition, you may be thinking, oh, got it. I've had that happen to me before. And so really we're just going to dive into like how can we really like use our words to create life and light in someone, not use it as a form of manipulation, but as a form of inspiration and empowerment.
Yes. So if you are excited as we are today, this is going to be awesome because, I truly think that that is what distinguishes a great leader, a great salesperson. There's just so many people that you can think of like, wow, if you can really serve from that place of empowerment, the impact that you can have on individuals is just really, it's profound, and so that's why, it's really crucial that we define what's the difference between gaslighting and empowerment, because I feel like gaslighting is such a buzzword right now, and the last thing that we ever want to do is really make someone question their reality. But when you can help them see a new possibility, because I think once upon a time when I was brand new inside of the industry and I was hardly making ends meet, I think uh, if somebody wouldn't have helped me paint a bigger picture, if I wouldn't have been able to find, some mentors here and there to surround myself with, I would have never been empowered to keep making bolder moves and bigger moves. But, if you can totally tell the difference between when someone is wanting to empower you and bring you to that higher vision versus if someone's just making you question your reality. And so today we're going to dive in deep to see what is that secret formula? How do you uncover your own greatness as a leader, as a salesman, whatever it looks like? And how do you help your team uncover the same?
Yeah. So let's talk about lighting a match to kick us off. So when you think about empowerment, you're really thinking about supporting and encouraging others to reach their full potential. So when you're in that empowerment phase, there will come a time where you have to give constructive feedback. And we like to say that feedback can be a form of love. Now, I know that sometimes you'll be like, Jen, you're crazy. I've gotten some feedback before and it was not very nice. But like if it's done and with the right intentions, feedback really can create a transformation in your life. And so when you think about that, like when you're first bringing on someone new, or like when you were first a new salon owner, like to really understand what feedback is, and then if it's done, like I said, with the right intentions, how that really can create a transformation in your life. I know that I've gotten constructive feedback, and I was like, wow. That was really great. Like, I'm going to use that to make myself a better person. And so that's one area that you want to look at when it comes to lighting that match is really just helping people, like people see their blind spots. Hey, like if you were able to do this, or if you were able to do that, or if you just gave a little bit of more, ask more questions during a consultation, like that client would be so much more bought in. They'd buy more product. They, would reserve their next visits. So really being able to give that constructive feedback helps you to celebrate someone and help them see something they never saw that was possible for them.
Yeah, Jen, I love that you talked about that because, I think that that's one of the crucial things to talk about when you do first bring on somebody new to your team, is how feedback can be a form of love. And, because a lot of people grew up in their families or, in school or wherever it was that they experienced this, where feedback was given in a form of blame or shame. And so it wasn't necessarily given to help somebody become the best version of themselves. It was, truly given to them to either like squash them down or, make them question their reality or whatever it was. And so I think pointing that out, we like to, with the companies that we work with, we like to do the feedback is love, flip chart to share with somebody where you just talk about like, hey, what's the difference between the two? Because a lot of people, it can be triggering when they get feedback because they've gotten feedback in that form of blame or shame before. And, just really helping them say like, hey, like, we're at this point on the mountain, and you're starting your summit to the top, and so we're going to look back and see you, and we're going to throw you a rope that's going to be in the form of feedback, and then we want you to catch it and start climbing up, because our goal is to get you the highest that we can get you. And so part of that is going to be that you're going to get that feedback in the form of love. And so you'll know it's different when it's somebody wanting you to grow and get better and have a new reality, that feels like a place of ease for you eventually. Not always in the beginning does it feel easy, but eventually you want it to get to that place. And you can even point out to your team member like, hey, sometimes it might happen with a guest, like we're still going to love the guest through it unless it's abusive, you know what I mean? But we'll still love the guest through it, but sometimes they're going to give you feedback that's like in the form of blame or shame, and that's just because like, hey, not everybody has all the development that we do. And, we're not judging them. It's just like knowing, if someone, just automatically goes to the place of, just blaming and shaming you for something that happened, like with a cut or a color, or, whatever it might be, versus like coming from that place of like, hey, can we make this adjustment or whatever, that's the difference between like blame and shame and then feedback in the form of love, but then also coaching your teammates like, hey, how can you create that space where you're not inviting negative feedback, but where you're creating that welcoming environment with your guests that they feel safe to give you feedback if it's ever necessary. And so I think setting that up in the beginning with a new teammate is crucial and key, and really can help teach that difference between lighting a match and gaslighting for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And like when you think about being a salon owner, I've been in this space or I heard salon owners say, "How do I motivate my team?" Like, so we would just want to
Mhm.
explore some ways to like, how can you light a match? Like, if you're like, okay, I don't know what else to do with so and so, Susie Q. Like, I give her all these tips, I do all these things, and she's not going, she's not setting on fire. No, I'm just kidding. She won't be set on fire. But like, how do you really get, light that match to let them see what's truly possible for them? And so,
Mhm.
I think, motivation can be so many different forms and ways to do that. But I really think a lot of times what some of our missing components are really getting present and connected with that certain person that's not being motivated, and understand what's important to them, and having conversations that really help foster their talent, to help them see what they're fully capable of, and to really create that work environment where they can thrive. So an example would be, let's say you have someone that did a haircut on someone, and the client called back and complained. And your conversation with the stylist is like, well, I don't know what you were thinking out there, but I don't know whenever would say this, but I don't know what you're thinking out there, but you've got to make sure that line is really straight, or your layers are really right, or like you weren't doing this, or you weren't doing that, or you weren't doing this. And like that really just beats a person down. So if you can approach it from the standpoint of, hey, you know what, let's look at this, and let's look at all possibilities. Like, what do you think really happened during that visit? What do you think you would do different next time? Let me give you some feedback, or some things that I've noticed, or some things that I saw. And like, what did you learn from this experience? So, like, to me, that's really going to light a match under someone and really help foster their full capacity to really see what's possible for them.
Yeah, I love that. It really does create such a totally different environment, and when we're talking about environment, I think that that's an environment where a team member feels supported and like they can grow and thrive, and hey, it's okay to make mistakes. Like, as the leader of the team, you probably made a million, or maybe I'm just talking about myself here, but like you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. Like, it's the learning and growing and correcting, that really turns you into the superstar, that is able to help create that for other people around you. And I think when you can see that, like, there's like, it just creates an environment, that's focused on amazing things, because like when you think about it, why do some people thrive, it's because they're in that environment where they can. But also, like when you think about it from a client perspective, like what is the real reason why clients buy? And I think the real reason why clients buy is because they feel like it. And I know that's like a wild
News
scientific thing.
alert, news alert.
Right? Flashing. Um, but really, like they just feel like it. But how can you help somebody feel like it? Because I think no matter what you're doing, whether it's in you're coaching your team or you're supporting your clients to feel like they can buy, there's going to be a million facts that are like thrown out every day. Like there's going to be a fact, like your customer is going to come in, your client's going to come in, and they're going to say, I've got frizzy hair. This sucks. Like, well, okay. So there's always a positive and a negative to every single fact that gets thrown out. And I think naturally you think of frizzy hair. The negative of that is that you've got frizz, but if you think about it, the positive of that is your hair can hold a curl better. Like you have the ability to get more volume. Like there's some positive things to having frizzy hair. It's not just all frizz and suckiness, that's a totally technical term. But there's some positives to it too. And so like when you can create that environment, like, hey, we've got some amazing solutions for you, like that starts to make that person feel more empowered. They're like, wow, I never even thought about, yeah, my hair can hold a curl better. It creates that better feeling for them right away. It helps, there's a positive and a negative to every single fact that gets dealt out in life. But it's like, what are you paying attention to?
Yeah, I love that you said that positive and negative because what that creates a belief. And then for us, we believe that that belief either brings faith to you or it brings doubt to you. And, you probably experience this a lot, especially with new service providers as, they get stuck so in that area of doubt or doubting themselves or, and that creates a lot of fear or a lot of anxiety. And so like to really understand and teach your team about like the real reason people buy is looking at every fact has that positive and negative really can create a sense of freedom and just understanding the way people are, the way people, that psychological and emotional reason behind why people buy.
Yeah, and all of those, like that belief or that doubt creates a feeling inside of us, and when you talk about like why do people buy? Because they feel like it, like if your consumer feels a lot of doubt around a situation, they're not going to feel like buying something, but if they feel a lot of faith in something, then that's going to create that positive feeling, so a fact's going to come in, they're going to tell you some sort of a fact, there's going to be a positive and a negative to that. That's going to, be what they're focusing on. And so when you focus on it, like Jen said, there's either going to be that faith or belief, or there's going to be that, anxiety or anticipation or doubt, that's, connected to that negative feeling. But when we can focus on the positive, not in a gaslighting way, we're not, like if there's ever like a real scenario, like all I can think of is morbid scenarios, but true scenarios where it's like, okay, this is not a good situation. Like if, somebody loses a pet or something, you're not going to be like, well, you're not going to have to go outside anymore. No, that's terrible. Like this is a real thing. Sorry for going morbid on you guys, but it's hard to think of a situation where that would be gaslighting. You know what I mean? But like when it's something like hair related or like your team member is trying to grow in a certain area, like they want to, get better at balayage or they want to cut down their time that it takes to apply a highlight or whatever it is, focusing on those positives and what they're doing well at gives them more faith. It gives them more belief in themselves. And when they're connected to those feelings, that's when they feel empowered, and when they're connected to the opposite, that doubt or fear or anxiety, that's when they feel like it's a dead end, like they're powerless. They have absolutely no power over the situation, and if you've ever worked with a team member before, maybe they've gotten a bad review, and they just feel like defeated and powerless. Like it's because it's all focused on the negative. And so your role as the leader can be like, hey, let's learn from this. Like, because there had to be some stuff that went right during the service. It didn't all go wrong. Most likely you probably, maybe you didn't get water in their ears when you were shampooing them. Who knows what it is? Let's look at some of those positives, because like if somebody beats themselves up enough, that's when they walk away and leave the industry. And that's why I believe that, the salon owners that we work with really disrupt all of the statistics inside of our industry, because they can lead from that place of positive leadership and help somebody see what they're truly capable of and keep them connected to that higher empowerment, versus like if somebody's not on a team, they're, just stuck in a closet side space alone, that can feel very disempowering. Like they're just focusing on those negative things around them and just, creating more havoc in their lives. And so, I think when you're able to lead from this space and also create that environment for your guests, that's what makes them want to buy. That's what makes your team want to continue to grow as well.
Yeah. And so you're probably thinking, oh, this sounds amazing. So, what are some strategies for empowering your salon team? And I think, one of the most magical things you can do is really have regular training and sessions where you help them see what's truly possible, like teaching things about looking at the facts and looking at the positive and the negative, and how it either creates faith or doubts. Like that really can help make a contribution to them. And so, like
Mhm.
working on this during salon celebrations, and like putting like mindset is one of the first things that you work at when you have a new hire. Like things like that will help to really empower your team from the beginning, so they understand all the ins and outs that you're creating in your company.
Yeah. And so if you have a question, if you have a burning question as a salon owner that you would love for us to give you some advice or feedback from, obviously a place of love, we would love to do that. So shoot us an email, hello@thephdprogram.com, or you can text us at 855-650-3445. And we'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Truly, we think that that's the way that our industry gets the beautiful reputation that it can, is when we're able to create more of this ripple effect inside of the world. Like not only does it empower our team to grow and become better, it empowers our clients to, love us more, and also, spend more money inside of our spaces. And, it really helps people in their personal life outside of work too. So we're grateful for you tuning in today, and we can't wait to hear from you.
All right. Well,